Do you have money stuck in a bank and you can't move it out and you can't get into a private placement program? Today I'm going to show you a live case study in how we are moving millions of dollars from an Indian bank out of India and in a private placement program. I'm going to show you 3 secrets nobody knows about. You've got to watch this. I'm Taimour Zaman from LearnACredit.ai. My organization is a world-class leader in 3 specific categories. Private placement programs. We've got hybrids and actual real private placement programs that are safe and pay money. Second thing is we help entrepreneurs access capital in various geographies in the world at banking rates that no bank can do, and as well as helping entrepreneurs monetize various banking instruments, documented letters of credit, standby letters of credit, IBOEs, and so on. Today, as of shooting this video, we are actually helping a real life, like we're doing this right now as I'm shooting this video, on helping a client that has $160 million in a big bank in India. And they're stuck in that, they've just had that money stuck for a while, they can't do anything with it. We're helping them transfer it out and put that money in a private placement program. You will discover secrets and some of the challenges clients have when their money's stuck, and how to get it unstuck, and how to make this happen for yourself. Full disclaimer, LearnACredit.ai, we're not a law firm. I'm not going to give you any legal advice. We're not financial advisors. I'm not going to give you financial investment advice, nor are we accounting firms. I'm not going to give you accounting advice either. The content of this information is strictly for entertainment and educational purposes. So a broker came to us and said, I have a client, they have money in India. For privacy reasons, obviously I will not share the name of the client nor the name of the bank. But they have a lot of money, specifically $160 million, stuck in a massive bank in India, and the client cannot move it. Can you please help us out? What the broker and the client failed to disclose at the time of talking to us is the money that's in that bank is off-ledger money. And when you have money that's off ledger, specifically if you want to go in a private placement program or leverage it, it becomes almost impossible to do until you call a company like LearnACredit.ai. So first, why would a bank accept cash or some kind of like capital that and then put it in something called off ledger? Well, the answer is many reasons. If the bank cannot verify their source of the funds, it becomes off ledger. If that source of funds has not been paid taxes, it becomes off ledger. If there's heritage funds like that, is off ledger. If I want to send money to Singapore, let's say $160 million, and it's going to go through some bank in India, it becomes off ledger. So there's like 3,000 reasons why a capital that's in a bank is what's called off ledger and it's not recorded. So when you, the owner of the capital, have claim on the capital, it becomes hard for you to leverage it, do anything with it, just because it's simply off ledger. So I'm going to give you 3 options. Option number 1 is if the broker is new. When I say broker, I typically mean joker brokers out there, and they want to be helpful. That if the broker is new, what the broker is looking for, if I was a broker that's new to this game, what I'll be asking the clients 2 questions. 1, who is the corresponding bank to this bank in India? And that bank must have, generally speaking, most banks have corresponding banks, unless you're working with a private no-name bank in Timbuktu. If you're not working with a no-name bank in Timbuktu, in this case it's a very large bank in India, they have corresponding banks. So the first question a new broker should be asking is, can you move this, ask the client, can you move the money to a corresponding bank? And there's an and. Can you do it through an MT760? When you do it through an MT760, it goes through a Swiss system, it goes through a protocol, so the receiving bank, the corresponding bank, gets something that's, I don't want to use the word clean money, but for the purpose of simplifying it for the thousands of people that watch my videos, I'm going to use some words as inaccurate, but conveys a story. When you use the MT760, it helps a lot of the issues you would have with the bank over cash that's off ledger. I'll just simplify that. And you're looking for a corresponding bank. So money, those are the questions you ask the client. Can you do an MT760? And can the money be transferred using MT760? And who's the corresponding bank? Whoever the corresponding bank is the bank that needs to receive the funds. Once the funds are in the corresponding bank, you do the private placement from that bank. Now I want to tell you option number 2. Option number 2 is if the money cannot move anywhere, and remember off-ledger cash can move easily like that. But you want to, this is a function, this has to be a function of the relationship between the client and their banker. This is not a function for line of credit, this is not a function for a broker. It's strictly something between a banker and their client, a client and their banker. And if this relationship is strong, where they know each other, if one has their daughters getting married, they're inviting the banker, or the banker's daughters getting married, they're inviting the client. Like I said, it has to be a strong established relationship. What the client will then need to ask their bank is, can you take the money that's off ledger and put it in a transfer account? You're not moving the money out. Remember, it's hard to move money. Money capital is that. So what you want to do is move it into something called transfer account. Now, there's multiple banks, there's at least 7 that we work with that work with something called transfer account. And that the bank that you want to work with has to, no negotiation, has to be a bank that's in North America or Europe. So in North America, so there's 7 banks that work with something called transfer account. Wells Fargo is one of them. Santander in Spain is one of them. There's 7. I'm going to disclose 2 of them in a public domain. The rest is for us to know, kind of thing. But you go to one of the, let's say, 7 banks or your bank or whoever it is, and ask them if they work with a transfer account. The bank in North America or Europe that receives that agrees to do the transaction will monetize it and will give the client 50 or 60% LTV on that money. So if it was $160 million, let's say $80 million of that will show up in, let's say, Wells Fargo. That $80 million is what goes in a private placement program, as an example. Now comes option number 3. Option number 3 is when you engage maybe a private equity firm like ours, a hedge fund, somebody like that, but you're bringing a player to the table that has something called Nostro account. Now I want to disclose full transparency, all banks, and I don't want to use the word all banks, all major banks have something called a Nostro account. Well, what's a Nostro account? The way I can explain it so a 5-year-old kid can understand is if you are Bank of America, you have a Nostro account with TD Bank in Canada, and you have maybe a Nostro account with HSBC London. If you're HSBC London, you have a Nostro account with some bank in Africa. You've got a Nostro account with DBS Singapore, and these banks have Nostro accounts. They have money in these Nostro accounts, and allows them to trade, allows them to do exchanges. It just allows them to do a whole bunch of things. So option number 3 is you bring in a private equity firm or insurance company, asset management company that has something called Nostro account with the bank that the money is stuck on. So it has to be money that's stuck on. And then what you do is that partner, let's say the insurance company as an example, is able to, or the private equity firm is able to leverage the money that is in that can move, right? And they will leverage it however they leverage it, and they will give, generally speaking, 50% of the face value in the other country, in the other account that they have a bank account in. So let's say for whatever reason the client doesn't come to linecredit.ai like that, I'm just making this up, they go to an insurance company that has a Nostro account and agrees to do it. That insurance company will say $160 million, awesome. I'm going to go in a partnership with you. I'm going to have a JV agreement with you, and I'm going to give you $80 million, that's 50% of the money, in Barclays London, as an example. So now the client can go and do a private placement program out of Barclays London, but what they have is not $160 million, they have $80 million to start to work with. Here's where most entrepreneurs, business owners, I feel, get stuck, and that's some version of their ego or the inability to do math. Really, the inability to do math. Whether you have $10 or $160 million that's sitting in a bank account that's stuck, where the capital is stuck, $160 million multiplied by zero is really zero. Like, it's really zero. $160 million or $10 multiplied by zero is zero. So what you really have is zero. I understand that when you work with a private equity firm, insurance company, whoever you work with, I don't care. You lose 50% of it, right, when it goes into a Nostro account in a different legal jurisdiction. But $80 million going into a private placement platform, just as an example, will give you $800 million. Specifically a secure private placement program as an example. So would you like to have, let's say $600 million, or really be stuck on $160 million that you cannot move? And $160 million that you can't move is, as far as I'm concerned, you have $0. That's my little 2 cents. So if you're interested in understanding this better, if you have a specific case study, you can feel free to book a paid consulting call with us. We'll be happy to look at your file and give you some strategies to help you out with it. At certain times, I do come across a lot of brokers that, the person's new. They're maybe a Uber driver. They lost their job through COVID or something like that, and they're trying to make ends meet. They come across the opportunity and they can't afford whatever we charge for my time, as an example. If you are in that category, in order to support the community, we do have a survey at the bottom of this video in the show description. You can go and put up your challenge or the problem case study you want to fill up. As long as that case study is relevant to what we do, I'm happy to do a video on it or respond to it. With one assumption: the topic has to be a very popular topic, and it must be a topic that we haven't covered before. Like, I don't want to talk about monetizing SBLC 5,000 times when I've done a really good video on it, as an example. But happy to, if you have a specific case study that you want us to do a video on how we will solve it, I have a solution for you, and that will be to fill up the survey. We'll look at it and see if we want to do a video on it. So I now want to answer some frequently asked questions. One frequently asked question I get is, Taimour, you are getting a percentage of the asset, the IBOE, or this letter of credit, or whatever that's we're bringing to you. Why are you charging an upfront fee for your time? Why I charge an upfront fee for my time? The truth, I get 75 to 300 inquiries a day, and I need a way to remove junk leads out of the transaction. When I give the formula on how to do it, the client can steal the formula and do it 10,000 times with 10,000 other IBOEs that they want to monetize, or SBLCs they want to monetize, or that. So I charge a fee for my time. I'm proud to charge a fee for my time. And if you don't like it, I feel there's other options. There's 10,000 brokers out there. I understand 90% of them are scam artists. I understand 90% of them don't know what on earth they're doing. But the other 10 may have some really good ideas or may have a solution. So you just have to go through 10,000 brokers. They will all come up with 3 different pitches. There's 30,000 pitches, potential solutions that you have to be through. Second options, talk to your bank and see if your bank has any ideas. If you don't have a relationship with your bank, go to a teller. Teller has to call their manager. Manager will have to call somebody in head office. Somebody in head office has to call somebody else. So your business objective hopefully doesn't get lost in communication, in translation. And somebody could call you and give you a great idea on how to do it or have the solution for it. And then if you don't want to deal with all of that, feel free to hire us at ALTFunds. I'm happy to help you out. The next question, commonly asked questions that we've been receiving is, there's a lot of testimonials from senior bankers about working with Credit. Okay, great, thank you. Well, what are you guys doing differently? I am the world's most risk-averse person that I know of, and I've been unfortunately being frauded out once or twice by sophisticated con artists. My staff, and I don't know how many private equity firms have a former FBI or former CIA people. Looking into our YouTube channels or whatever, you'll see former FBI, CIA people that work with us. So I am extremely risk averse, and so banks, monetizers like that. And the other thing I feel is my organization is extremely transparent. One of our core values, other than integrity, is transparency. And this is why I believe we get a lot of, I don't want to use the word favors, but banks or monetizers, private placement providers really like us because of these core values. I believe so. Some of the brokers, next common question, and I've heard this a lot this week. Some of the brokers working with you claim they've made millions of dollars. That's actually true. I'm going to show you a video about this right now.
No problems doing that.
I'm not recording this. Go ahead, run Excel one more time.
Taimour, I made more money with you in the last 1 year than I did with the last 22 years of my life.
Wow.
All right?
Thank you. Do you have a training program for people who want to work with you? We do. I don't have the time to work with 10,000 people. I'm looking for brokers that have contact lists of 100 people, are in the financial services industry, or have the desire to be in the industry. I put you into a rigid training program where you're working with me in a group training, one-on-one as well. I work on the mindset. It's all about mindset. How do you win the war before the war starts? That's a bad way of saying it. Through your mindset. And then I start to train you on the banking, technical skills, how central banks work, and so on, so that you can make millions of dollars. Your commitment to me is you have to be the income the other brokers who've made with me. That's your commitment to me. Next question, and I've heard this a few times. I've heard this differently from different people. Is why is it so hard for clients to move a lot of their money from a bank? Please research this for your own self. Please come to your own conclusion out of my answer here. I'll talk about Cayman Islands as an example. If I deposit $1 million in Cayman Islands, well, in a Schedule B bank, Schedule B, not Schedule A, Schedule B bank, it has to go to what Cayman Island refers to or points to as their central bank. Cayman Island doesn't have a central bank compared to United States central bank, but they have a body that acts like a central bank. That central bank will give the Schedule B bank a multiples of 10. So if I deposit $1 million in the central bank in Cayman Islands, my bank, my Schedule B bank, will get $10 million. If you are a senior executive of a bank and you just got a credit facility for $10 million on a $1 million deposit, I promise you, in your career objectives, you don't want that money to leave your bank. You want to leverage that money. That's how banks make money. That's how private equity firms make money. That's why hedge funds make money. You don't want that money to leave. The case study I gave you was $160 million that's in a bank in India as an example. $160 million at a credit facility is a big number. If I was a senior vice president of that bank, I will want to make it extremely difficult for that money to leave. Even if there's a money that's in transfer, I would, I hope that answers the question why it's not easy to move a large amount of money from banks. At least that's my opinion for sure. I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is for entertainment purposes, entertainment, educational. This is the entertainment piece, I think. Are you and your team, this was a great question, I thought. Are you and your team still pursuing to buy a bank? What are you learning about it? We are still pursuing to buy a bank. We've got our top 5 picked out for sure. What I'm learning about it for myself is, first of all, there's thousands of banks for sale around the world, and it's not about their income statements or stuff like that that matters. It's really understanding a function of the regulators. What's important to regulators? What does the regulator need to say? What does a central bank can do in that region? The Central Bank of the United States, as an example, their capabilities and the laws are significantly different than the central bank in Afghanistan as a comparison, like significantly different. So it's really understanding regulators, what is it they're looking for. And once we understand that, we want to add capabilities to a bank that we want to acquire. And that's really important to us. The other thing that we are interested in is what we call sticky money. And I'll tell you what sticky money is. Insurance, as an example. When you deposit $30 or $100 or whatever you pay for your insurance policy every month, you're not trying to take that money out. So if you're an insurance company or reinsurance company like that, that money is sticky compared to a bank has deposit but it also has withdrawals. There's a lot of money in a business you want to acquire if it has something called sticky money. So those are things that we are interested in acquiring. If you know of any opportunities like that, give us a call. I understand. So this was another great question. I understand you don't write consulting contracts. That's true. Why not? I have two simple reasons why we don't. We do a lot of consulting for companies. We primarily get retained by the CEO, CFO, or COO. Generally speaking, it's the company wants to boost up their assets so they can sell it, boost up their assets so they can get a big loan, create a secondary source of funds, or a lot of family-run businesses. After COVID, they really got impacted. So they're looking for a secondary source of income that's reliable, that they can count on like that. So we do consulting. Why don't I write consulting contracts? I have two reasons. One is I am extremely lazy. That's truly, really, I'm really lazy. And I find that when a client writes a consulting contract, while they're writing, they get crystal clear on the outcomes that they're signing up for. Instead of me guessing or saying, hey, these are the outcomes you say you want to have, this is a consulting contract, I get the client to do it. Now they have skin in the game. It works for me. In my business, I lose a lot of business from a lot of hedge funds, private equity firms that want to retain our services. They want to retain my expertise. And I refuse to write consulting contracts. Just because of that, they don't pursue the conversation. They don't come back. And I'm perfectly, works for me. I get to spend more time with my family. I'm good with that. I have a business problem that I need some help in. Is it possible to share in confidence and for you to do a video on how to solve it? Yes, we do have a survey link at the bottom of our videos that we've now put in so that you can submit your business problem in confidence. And if we think it's a popular topic, we are happy to do a video on how we will solve it. Next question is, you keep claiming you're an innovative firm. I don't remember ever saying we're an innovative firm, but fair enough. Can you tell me any programs that you run that's innovative in nature? Honest to God, I don't know what program we don't run that's innovative in nature. Rent a Rich Uncle program, we put up money in your bank. We buy credit deposits from your bank so that your bank will give you money, line of credit that they wouldn't give you any other way using fractional reserve or fractional lending model. Putting that aside, I provided a case study on a client that was a startup that got into the mask and glove business, and they were looking for a revolving line of credit, letter of credit from the client, from their bank. Bank wasn't able to do that. By bringing an insurance provider to the table, we were able to leverage the letter of credit and then give the client 60% of the face value of the letter of credit every month. I think that's pretty innovative. Now, I'm going to tell you why we have the ability to become extremely innovative, and I promise you this is true. We don't chase rainbows. We really don't chase rainbows. There's lots of companies, individuals, and groups that chase rainbows. They don't charge for a time. They work on commission. They want to monetize IPOEs as an example, or SBLCs, and get paid in the back end. I refuse to do that. I find that our expertise is valuable. I charge money for it, and I get money in the back end. I'm proud of it. I'm not, I don't hide that away. And by having that revenue coming in, we get something called time, because our energy is not about chasing rainbows. Our energy goes into what are some problems the world is facing, and what are some solutions we can bring in so we can help families, we can help entrepreneurs. My entire company is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs get the funding they need, so together we can create meaningful change in the world. And that's why I get up every morning kind of thing. Next question is, this is the last one. You've written a book called Hypergrowth. That's correct. I have written a book called Hypergrowth, How to Connect Customers anyways. Is any of your investment costs written in the book? Well, my book is not about religion, for sure. It's not about my spirituality or weighting or losing weight. So if it's not about those things, and I do lots of videos on financial structuring, engineering, guess what Hypergrowth could be about? So I will leave that to your conclusion, but I'll tell you something. Section 8, Chapter 8 and Chapter 9 of the book Hypergrowth, I personally would have paid $1 million for some of those key distinctions there. My name is Taimour Zaman. I hope you found this helpful. I'd love to have the opportunity of serving you if there's a need for helping you participate in private placement programs, monetizing banking instruments, or create structured financing. Thank you so much, and looking forward to meeting
And Taimour, thank you for giving us ideas as far as what we need to do to get our business acquisitions off the ground, the route that we need to take in negotiating. That way we can hit the ground running. So we definitely appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Will, do you see a pathway for making money that you didn't see before the call?
And again, I mimic Chinese answer to be able to spend this time with you, and it's like we were a movie star, but at the same time to be able to sort through this, like hear us say it, but then you can kind of pick stuff out of it by certain things that we said, and then source money that we wasn't even thinking about, or a solution, and now we can go back to the seller and pull money, or let them see it in a way that's really someone who might be risk adverse, and then say, no, this is actually something good. And then we can try that and then come back and then actually build a long-term relationship with you and actually help others. So we're very excited with this and working with you and the Rich Uncle platform and exploring some other financial vehicles as you talk about in your video. So this is going to be exciting.
Okay, so Richard, who are you and what have you got out of working with me, either on this call or on the materials I provided?
My name is Richard Kane, and I'm working on raising capital for projects throughout Africa, humanitarian infrastructure projects and some renewable energy projects. So I was just recently introduced to the concept of private placement programs, and I'm far from being an expert. So thanks to Taimour, I've been guided along that path, and I now understand the process much better. Thanks for that. And also I'm now familiar with the different routes I can take in moving forward, and also the work I have to do before I can move forward. So I'm really grateful for the time you've spent with me and guiding me in this way, and hopefully we'll speak again soon. Thank you.
Awesome.